I thought we were ready. We're not ready. Okay, y'all get ready. All right, who would the state call as next witness?
John of the state is called Carolyn Agreyo.
Carolyn Agreyo. Come around, face the court reporter, and be sworn in, please. And see if that mic's on.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this call to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am.
And if you can speak as close into that microphone as possible. All right. I'm hoping that buzz will leave. I think it is this. All right. Can you tell the jury who you are?
I'm Carolyn Agreyo. I'm Jeff Spence's daughter.
Okay. Where do you, I'm not going to ask you where you live, and there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. Can you tell the jury why you don't want to tell the world where you live?
I've come here to help stop what has been going on for decades. But I have requested that where I live, how many children I have, any of that is not mentioned. I have moved several times. Sorry, I've got a little allergy stuff going on. I've moved several times. Once you leave a criminal family, you watch your back all the time. You move if you need to move. You protect in whatever way you need to protect. No social media, things like that. You are guarded. Once you realize that you've done something wrong to the family, you've betrayed the family, you have not been loyal the way you've been raised, you're...
I want to enter an objection to whatever it is that this witness is referring to. There's nothing that has been ever substantiated about what she said. Nothing.
I would ask that you reply to
It's narrative.
talk with the narrative. Reply to questions and answers so that we can have time to get.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Was it always that way?
No, not at all.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brookfield, Pennsylvania, a little farm outside of Brookfield, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And who is your father?
Jeff Spence,
Who is your mother?
Karen Spence.
And do you have any siblings?
I have one older sister, Caitlin Spence.
Okay. Now, I believe y'all are fairly close in age. Is that
Yes,
correct?
we're a year apart. She's 1 year older than me.
If I'm remembering correctly, Caitlin was born in '86, or was that?
Yes, Caitlin was born in '86,
And you were born
the next year.
Okay. Now, normal childhood, soccer, school. Where'd you go to college?
I mean, normal childhood might be a little off, but I mean, as far as I've been in, dealing with this sort of thing even since I was growing up. You know, as far as game commissions that had to come to our house.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear that. Please.
I wouldn't exactly describe my childhood as a normal childhood. Having game commissioners come to the house, having my dad cited for bad business practices.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is coming out of just, it's trash, Judge. No, nothing substantiated, it's all just trash.
I'm sustaining objection.
Where did you go to college?
Grove City College in Pennsylvania.
And did you finish college?
I did. I double majored in early childhood and elementary education.
All right. After you got your degree, did you get a job in that field?
I did. I've taught for several years.
Okay. Where was that?
So after I graduated college, I went to New Zealand for a short period of time just to see how they did early childhood there. My professors always raved about the early childhood programs there, so I did a little time in New Zealand, but then when I came back, I moved right away to North Carolina. I didn't want to be any part of...
You object to relevance of what goes on in New Zealand doesn't have anything to do with this case.
It's just background.
I'm gonna let that go. Go ahead.
All right. So you moved to North Carolina.
I moved to North Carolina. I didn't want to be in Pennsylvania. Didn't want to be near any of it.
Understood. Where in North Carolina did you move?
I moved to, I first went down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and then I got a job a little further south, so it's a little area called Oak Island. So I taught in a school there near Oak Island.
All right. Are you married?
Yes,
When did you get married?
2014.
And who did you marry?
Giovanni Agreyo.
When did you marry Giovanni Agreyo?
June of 2014.
Did y'all live on Oak Island, North Carolina, together?
Yes.
And what did he do? At that time, what was he doing, employment-wise?
At that time, he was a Marine.
Marine? Now then, did Jeff and Karen, your mother and father, move in with y'all?
Yes. So we got married in June 2014. My parents had talked about wanting to move, with us settling down, and they moved in with us in about August of 2014. They were going to look for a place down there.
All right. So they moved in with you. Did you have a conversation with Giovanni about that decision for them to move in with y'all?
Object to that conversation, Judge.
I'm not asking for the conversation. I'm just asking if they had a conversation.
I'll allow that.
Yes, Gio has a very big heart.
Don't tell me what he said. Did y'all have a conversation about your mother and father moving in with y'all, being newly married?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
They were going through bankruptcy, so we felt like we could help them out.
Right. Okay. So your father was going through bankruptcy, having money problems, and y'all wanted to help him out. Is that correct?
He had to file for bankruptcy. He had a case with Jim Riddle where he had embezzled $100,000 from his business partner.
We object to anything that's coming from this witness.
I'll sustain that objection and ask the jury to disregard anything that they heard about that anyway.
Okay. Don't add to the question.
Okay, sorry.
Ask the question. Answer the question that's asked, and stop there.
All right. So if I understand correctly, you've testified that you wanted your mother and father to move in because they were having financial trouble in August of 2014.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how long did they stay with y'all?
They ended up staying 2 years.
All right. And during that period of time, did yourself and your husband help them get on their feet financially?
Yes, they weren't paying rent. We had given them one of our cars and the insurance on the cars. We did groceries. We were trying to help them get back on their feet, trying to help them recover and kind of have a fresh start. And again, we were just trying to help them.
Was your mother ever employed during that period of time?
No.
Okay. Did your father ever have any meaningful employment during that period of time?
He did not have a job. He had started or tried to start a vegetable farm with a gentleman down there.
All right. So he tried to start a vegetable farm.
Yes.
And did he talk to anybody about investing in that?
He had an investor that invested $20,000 in starting it.
Okay. Do you know anything about whether that investor was able to realize any kind of return on that investment?
He had
Hold on,
to take
before
it.
you answer, I think there will be an objection.
Same as we had before, talking about, we have no substantiation.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. Don't talk about the investor
Okay.
anymore, pursuant to the ruling of the court. All right. Now, at some point, did yourself and Gio decide to move to Virginia?
Yes. Gio got a job in Virginia.
All right. Was it with the Marines?
No, he'd gotten out of the Marines.
Okay. You can tell the jury what his new employment, new career was going to be.
Okay. He was going to be working for the federal government in a very similar capacity for what he had did with the Marines, but he was going to be on the civil side now. He served his years in the Marines, and now he had the opportunity to do security policing with the federal government.
All right. So, did you buy property and a home in Virginia?
When we first moved there, we rented, but then we did buy a cabin in Virginia.
Okay. Where in Virginia?
Orange, Virginia,
Okay.
Charlottesville area.
All right. And is that the property that y'all bought? Is that where you and Giovanni were planning to build a cabin kit for your mother and father?
So, as you can imagine, we lived with them for a while. Everybody was kind of ready for their own space. But we, again, we wanted to make sure they were on good footing. And we offered to, we had 10 acres with the cabin, so we offered to separate off a little land and do like a simple, like less than $100,000 cabin type kit, kind of a little mother-in-law suite type thing, with just having them have their own house though, but just down the lane. The idea was Grandma and Grandpa would be down the lane.
Who was going to pay for that kit?
Well, with them being in bankruptcy, we were gonna, the agreement was that we would get the loan, but they would have to make the mortgage payments.
Judge, and ask you to instruct the jury to stop, tell Mr. Bly to stop talking about bankruptcy. There's nothing in this case about bankruptcy. There's been no substantiation.
I'll hear what you say.
Your Honor, I think it's already been established that he was in bankruptcy as the reason that he moved in with Jeff and Gio.
I think the defendant's financial situation is relevant in this case anyway. I'm going to allow it.
There's been no substantiation of any bankruptcy ever with this man, except what's just now come out of this witness's mouth.
You can look on the federal PACER system.
I think that this is a daughter. I think she has knowledge of it. I'm going to allow the testimony.
Okay, so we were talking about the yourself and your husband putting the money up for the kit to build a mother-in-law, father-in-law house on your property. With that loan from the bank, certain requirements about construction, were there building codes that had to be followed, things of that nature?
Yes, so in the build, you have to do one step at a time. You have to do it correctly. Everything's got to be insured. All the contractors have to be okayed. Everything has to be a certain way for you to get the next amount of money from the loan to be released. So if you do the first step wrong, like you're already in trouble as far as being able to finish the house.
To be able to go to the next phase and prove that everything was done by code.
Correct.
All right. Did your father interfere with that?
Yes. So he wanted to kind of, make himself the general contractor, if you will, of the project. Well, you have a full-time job. Gio has a full-time job. I'll help out in this way. The problem that we ran into was paperwork. It was all word of mouth. Well, so-and-so didn't call me back, or I got this bid, and we said, well, where's the bid? There was nothing on paper, and that wasn't going to be working because we had to turn everything into the bank again in order to move on with the next step. So there started to be arguments where we're like, hey, we've been clear, somebody has to write us up. If we're going to get a well driller, we have to have a contract. We have to have his license number and know that he's insured, and we have to have all of that in order to turn that in to the bank, and then they okay it, that we can move forward with digging a well for the house. So that was the sort of thing that started where we started arguing over things, and we're getting upset at each other because Gio and I were trying to go by the book, and he was trying to well, this will work. This guy's been in the town for 30 years, and he's done this before.
All right, and let's just put a pause on that line of questioning for right now. Can you tell the jury, when y'all were home, did y'all watch TV together?
Yeah, we initially, again, we didn't know that other things were going on. We thought we were doing the right thing. We thought we were helping. We would watch a lot of movies together.
What kind of TV programs did your father enjoy watching?
We watched things like Breaking Bad, Blacklist. We watched
Soon to be relevant.
Okay. So we would watch a lot of movies, and that Jeff always likes to dialogue. So one of the things, initially that kind of perked me up to like, this is odd. We were watching a movie, and he said, oh, well, if I was ever going to have to kill someone, I'd use a shotgun, and that's because you wouldn't have to worry about the casing.
Who said that?
My dad.
Okay.
Jeff Spence.
Your father?
My dad.
Now, when families sit down and watch TV shows together, do they normally take notes about what's going on?
No, I mean...
Did your father do that?
So, normally people would just watch a show like that for entertainment, but Jeff learns from them.
I'm sorry.
Jeff learns from them.
How do you know that? Do you
Because
have?
he discusses everything. Like even with himself, he'll have long conversations. He'll practice things. That's something I even saw in my childhood. You know, he'd have an argument with a business partner, and you know, he'd be pacing the floor that night and
relaying it to some program.
You know, again, with something like Breaking Bad, like most people would watch that and be terrified. Like, you know, that's not normal life for most people. That's not something like, oh, hey, that was a good idea.
When he said that about using a shotgun, did he say anything about the projectile or the shell casing?
Yeah, the whole idea with a shotgun is it's harder to trace.
No, specifically, did he say anything about the shotgun shells? Do you recall?
Yes, a shotgun shell is huge. I'm sure most of you know that. You're not going to be looking around for little bullet casings, and that's if you have to shoot more than once. If you only, and that was his comment, is, well, if you only have to shoot someone once, the casing doesn't even come out. Now, if you end up having to shoot again, then, I mean, at least you're looking for something that big.
Okay. Now then, in general, the condition of the property that you had on the curtilage or the yard, around the driveway, that area, I'm not talking about the house or the cabin, talking about the land. How much land did you have?
It was 10 acres, almost entirely wooded.
Okay.
We were back in the woods, and
did you have a gate around that property?
we had a gate that went into our backyard and back into the woods behind our house.
Okay. Now, did tensions arise between yourself and your father about how he used that yard, that property?
Yeah, so as we were building, as I mentioned, some arguments started about doing things the right way. Jeff has always tried to make money off of little things, like, oh, come pick up this tractor, I'm just trying to get rid of it. And then, so he'd bring that to the land, and then he'd try and sell that. So we started having people coming onto our land, like looking for Jeff, and all the while we're trying to build a house. We didn't want anyone in a construction zone where somebody could get hurt. Then all of a sudden we're getting sued because somebody got hurt that never should have been on the property in the first place. So these are the things that we started worrying about as a young couple, that, hey, we're not protected. I mean, I'm a teacher, he's a police officer. You know, we're not full of cash. If somebody gets hurt, like, you know, we're in trouble. So those arguments kept happening. And one particular discussion, I was pregnant at the time, so I had gone into the house to use the bathroom, and I came back out came to the window, and I saw that Gio and Jeff were having an argument. They were both talking loud, and I saw Jeff step to Gio, and I could see in his eyes, like, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And he stepped back, so he thought better of it. That.
Relevance. We're talking about an argument from 19 or 20.
Well, this is where my husband was
Hold on 1
threatened.
second. Let them finish.
So
Hold on 1 second.
We've got much of a rambling testimony. That needs to be more
Specific, non-narrative.
It's hard to me to referee a rational match. We don't know let's try to get specific questions and specific answers.
All right.
I understand.
And if I understand your testimony correctly, you've got a loan for $100,000 or around $100,000 for this cabin kit, correct?
It turned into $178,000
Okay.
by the time Jeff was done.
And that was being put in jeopardy by Jeff not following the code, cutting corners and that kind of thing?
Right. The ball was already rolling. There was no way of stopping it at that point. We were in it.
Just, and And the way we're going to do it, I'm going to ask you a question, yes or no, and then if I need you to explain, I'll ask.
Okay.
If that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. So, in addition to that, did your dad, he just acquired junk? Is that
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Can you briefly tell the jury about that?
It's part of not wanting to work. It's a laziness. You're trying to make money off of nothing.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll sustain the objection.
All right.
Move on.
I'll move on.
okay.
Did that interest that your father have result in a bunch of junk in your yard?
Yes, we had to clean, we had to remove tons. I think it ended up being 3 tons of junk off of our property to clean it off after we got him out.
Okay. Now then, was there a conversation that you, your husband, and your father had where all of this came to a head?
Yes,
Where was that conversation? Where did it take place, and when?
McDonald's, he didn't want my mom present.
Okay. What did you explain to your dad about the situation, and what was his response?
We tried another sit down where we said, look, we have to do this a certain way. We have to go by the book. Otherwise, all of this is going to get messed up. There's no reason to not have a contract on someone.
Okay, so all of these things came to his attention directly by you and Gio. What was his response?
He was angry. He said, well, I guess I can't do it your way. And we kept trying to reiterate, it's not our way, it's the bank's way. We're not trying to be stubborn. There's codes when you build. It's not codes we came up with. Everybody has to build. Even if you put a porch on your house, you have to do it by code.
And at this time, were they living in the house with you?
At this time, they had a basement apartment under a family on the lake, Lake Louisa.
And then, as a result of this confrontation at McDonald's, did you come to any realization with Gio about your father not being who you thought he was?
I saw an anger and a violence in his eyes I had never seen before. In the way he was speaking to Gio, and I saw how angry he was, and that was when he said, I'm done, I'm out. Basically, this mess is yours.
And after that, did y'all install video surveillance around your property?
Yes, we put up cameras. At that point, there was too much animosity. There was too much that was being done behind our backs that at that point we weren't feeling safe.
Did you put up video surveillance around your property?
Yes, cameras.
Okay. After that, was your video surveillance system ever altered or adjusted in any way by anybody other than yourself and your husband?
Yes, the camera cord to our security camera was cut.
How did you know how your camera system was cut and who cut it?
We were in the house. Jeff had been told to get all his stuff off the property because we were done. So he was going into our garage, which is back behind our house. He was going into the garage to get his stuff. He noticed the camera, went behind our shed, cut the camera, and of course we knew he cut the camera because we're in the house, and the camera feed to one of the cameras goes out.
So you saw it with your own eyes, your father cutting the camera feed?
He was behind a shed.
Yeah.
So he walks behind the shed, the camera feed goes out, Gio goes out to check it, it's been cut.
All right. Now, in and around this time, tell the jury what time frame this is.
This is August of 2018.
Okay. Now, in and around this time, did you have a conversation with your father about life insurance on your husband?
He had, in one of his arguments with Gio, he had told Gio, Karen and I want to pay for $1 million life insurance policy for you. And of course, Gio thought that was odd. He has a job, he has life insurance. So he shared that with me, and I told Gio, I was like, I don't understand what's the thought process before that. He said, well, they mentioned the baby, you know, you have our firstborn, our son was gonna be born in November, and he said, but it was odd. It was during one of our conversations about the house. Like there was no, like my mom wasn't there, I wasn't there. Like, you know, if this was something that was really about the grandbaby, why was this coming up?
And this was during all the tensions.
It never came up until the fighting started.
Now, was there a conversation about a meal ticket? What was that about?
So a meal ticket.
You're messing up my meal ticket.
So with
And if you know,
yeah, I'm not recalling a meal ticket
Okay.
comment.
Was he upset that they weren't allowed to get $1 million policy on Gio's life?
He just seemed flustered. Like you know, anytime we didn't agree with him, it was just, oh well, you all are stupid. You know, I mean, so of course he was upset about it. We weren't agreeing with him.
All right. Did you ever take any action because your father was trespassing on your property?
When he cut the camera cord, we called the sheriffs, because at that point I had tried to reason with him. Gio had tried to reason with him. Trust me, we wanted the family relationship to be good. I had tried until I was blue in the face. And at that point I was like, I don't know what else to do other than to get the police involved.
And did you ever find any personal property of you and your husband Gio missing after the security camera was cut?
Yes, so we had, again, you know, as I mentioned with this house build, Gio and I are careful about paperwork. And we, you know, when we moved into the cabin, the logs, if you're familiar with log cabins, they have to be stained. So we got bids for someone to treat the wood to preserve it for the cabin. And we got these bids, and again, this was a typical thing of my dad's to do. So he said, oh hey, like they're gonna charge, you know, $30,000 for this, I'll do it for 10. You know, so we're like, well, this is the big project, this is gonna be a lot of work, are you sure? So we just wrote up a little legal note on a legal pad.
Let me stop you there. Did he ever take, or are you aware of any time that your father had taken any property from you or your husband during that period of time? That
paper went missing.
Okay.
But also things like my husband's tools. Like again, Gio in the Marines, police officer, very orderly.
Okay,
knows,
that's good. No narrative.
Okay.
Mr. Agreyo can't tie something to Jeff Spence. Just because something becomes missing or they misplace it or whatever, doesn't mean that he has done anything.
Unless you can tie it to Mr. Spence, let's move on to that. And yours will
Finding it in
your will disregard that last comment unless you can tie it to something.
After
I'm sorry. Did you instruct the judge?
I instruct the jury to disregard that last comment.
Thank you.
After the cutting of the surveillance system around your property and calling the sheriff, did you ever have to call the sheriff again?
A couple days later, he came back on the property, and again, this was on our security camera. He pulls a knife out of his pocket, cuts the we put a zip tie on the latch and the gate, so just as extra security. So yes, that was cut, and so we called the police again because at that point the sheriff that came 2 days
Let me
prior,
stop you there. Who cut it?
Jeff Spence.
And entered your property
Yes,
after having been told not to come back on your property?
correct.
And how did you know that he cut the strip?
It's on camera.
You had it on camera? Now then, do you recall the last time that that you, and I may be wrong about this, but there was a time when they were leaving in the car and you were trying to talk to your mother? That's not testimony, that's background.
I'm gonna see where it goes. Hang on.
Do you recall that situation?
He would call.
Yes or no? Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm really referring to your mother. And I want you to tell the jury, was your mother a part of, did you know what was going on, and how did you know that?
Yes, my mom has always been aware of what's going on, and she has been a driver for him. She was a driver for him when they poisoned the water troughs of a deer farm.
Hold on. No narrative.
Okay, she is always aware.
Okay. Now, you talked about your dad buying and selling junk, for lack of a better word. At times, would he go outside or across state lines during that period of time?
Yes, all the time. Big drives were a thing for him, and my mom would keep a cell phone.
Ma'am, I have an objection. Unless she can tie it to some basis of knowledge, she can't just be sitting up here accusing whatever's coming.
Rephrase your question as to lay a foundation as to her knowledge.
Do you know why? How did you know that your father would cross state lines?
One particular time he went to Georgia.
Do you know?
Yes, I know he would cross state lines.
All right.
Yes.
And would he take certain precautions when he did that?
Yeah.
He would.
Let's have a basis of knowledge. Let's have a basis of knowledge first.
Thank you, Judge.
Do you know whether he took any precautions when he did that?
He would.
Back up a step before that. That's the basic knowledge that he pleaded to say.
He was around us all the time. He was living with us for 2 years.
Did he ever say where he had been
All the time.
and where he got property?
Yes, because if we went a day without seeing him, that was weird.
And did you ever ask him where he got certain property that made its
Yes,
way on
and
your
so
land?
he'd say, "Oh, I made a run to Georgia,
Okay.
or I went to South Carolina yesterday."
Now, were you aware of any precautions that he took in order to go to Georgia to buy property to bring back and put in your yard?
He'd leave his cell phone with my mom.
Okay.
How would she know that? Objection.
He told me.
Objection.
Lay a foundation to basis of knowledge.
How do you know that he would leave his cell phone with your mother?
Through his own mouth, he would tell me.
Now, back to that. Do you recall the incident with your mother leaving in the car that we were
Yes.
talking about earlier?
Yes.
All right. When was that?
It was shortly after all this was happening where he had called her to come pick him up.
Okay. Did she come pick him up?
She came, are you referring to when, so she came to pick him up the first time he was arrested?
I'm talking about the last time you ever saw him.
Judge, I need to.
I want to clear something up with you. We were talking about two different things. Your mother came to pick him up after you had called the sheriff's department out there because he had trespassed. Is that correct? Do you remember that event?
He had,
Just yes or no?
yes,
Yes. And when you said when you had him arrested, you're talking about that misdemeanor trespass on your property, correct?
yes.
Okay, so that's clear. Was there a time where you tried to talk to your mother about these things?
Yes.
And what was her response?
Objection, Dr. Hearsay.
It's not.
I don't want to quote from it, just general attitude.
Yes. What did she do when you were attempting to try to get her attention?
I walked out to her car because she wasn't getting out of her car, and I said, "Mom, we need to have a conversation about what's happening." And she would not get out of her car. She was talking to me through the window, and she was...
Don't say anything that she said.
Okay.
What did she do?
She got a call from Jeff, and then she peeled out.
Okay. Was that the last meaningful contact you've had with your mother?
She has continued to text, now not in the past couple of years, but she would continue to send texts because we were able to get a no contact on Jeff, but not on her. So I would get little things from her, like heard y'all were in Texas, heard y'all had a baby girl, little plugs to let us know that, hey.
After that last contact with your mother, when y'all were actually in the same place there in Virginia, did you and your family move somewhere else?
Yes. So with what happened with the house, once we were able to finish it, we put it up for sale. It wasn't selling. We ended up having to sell our own home because, again, we couldn't make 2 mortgage payments.
Understood. Did y'all
So
move from that location?
we had to move.
What was the primary reason for you moving?
We moved initially because we had to sell our home, but then we were able to get jobs elsewhere so we could get away from it all.
Okay. Now, court's indulgence. The witness, Your Honor.
As
When you and your husband moved to Oak Island, North Carolina, Jeff and Karen lived elsewhere. That's a yes or no.
Yes.
They still lived on the farm in Pennsylvania.
In February of 2014, they got a beach rental in the town where we lived.
Now, you're not answering my question. When you and your husband moved to Oak Island, your mother and father still lived on the farm in Pennsylvania.
That's not correct.
Why is it not correct?
Because they moved to Oak Island. They rented an apartment in February
I
2014.
understand they moved to Oak Island. I'm getting there. But when you moved to Oak Island, they didn't live there on Oak Island.
And I hadn't married my husband at that point either, sir. When I moved to Oak Island and I bought a house in Oak Island, Gio wasn't even in the picture yet.
You were single. When you
That's
moved
correct.
to Oak Island, you were single.
That's correct.
And after you moved to Oak Island, let me back up. When you moved to Oak Island, your parents still lived in Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
And when they moved to Oak Island, you weren't married.
That's correct.
And when they moved to Oak Island, it's because you invited them to come.
I didn't stop them from coming.
Well-
I would definitely not phrase it as I invited them to pick up their 30-year life on a farm in Pennsylvania and move to North Carolina.
You not only invited them, ma'am, they lived with you.
My husband wanted to help them, and I didn't want to be.
You weren't married. You just got through telling us when you moved to Oak Island, you were living alone. You were single.
When they moved in with us, we were married at that point.
Okay, so you moved. You asked your parents to move to Oak Island, and your husband agreed.
That's incorrect.
I'm sorry?
That's incorrect, sir.
Your husband did not okay them moving in with him?
They moved in with us in August of 2014. I married my husband in June of 2014. My parents rented a place on Oak Island in February of 2014.
All right, so they moved there and were paying their own rent.
For a couple months, yes, sir, to the beach apartment. When they moved in with us, they didn't pay rent.
My point
That
is,
was the point.
Okay, all right. So your parents moved to Oak Island and rented their own place.
For a couple months. It was a month-to-month beach rental. This was not a place they could rent long-term.
You have more knowledge about your parents' business than any person I think I have ever heard of.
Wouldn't you
realize-
if they lived
Let
with
me
you?
finish.
I grew up with them, so my early life was with them, and then as an adult, they lived with me for 2 years.
At your
and-
request.
At my husband's generous offer, sir.
At your request.
It wasn't my request, I've said that.
It was your husband's generous offer.
Correct.
And you are telling us that you didn't agree?
I agreed.
Or are you just letting your husband run the household?
No, sir. If you knew me, you'd know that wasn't the case.
Actually, Gio has a reputation for being very difficult, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't, sir.
Very demanding.
He's had a lot of honorable positions over the years, and we wouldn't be here if he wasn't an honorable man.
After your husband's generous offer, Karen and Jeff Spence lived with you, you said, for 2 years.
Correct.
And then you and Gio got jobs in Virginia.
Correct.
And when you moved, Jeff and Karen were still in Oak Island.
Jeff moved to Virginia before Karen because he,
You didn't listen to my question.
I'm listening, sir.
When you and Gio moved to Virginia, Jeff and Karen still lived on Oak Island. Yes or no?
yes,
Okay. And they continued to live on Oak Island for a good while.
that's wrong.
Wrong in what way?
About a month after we moved to Virginia, Jeff showed up at the door, said, "Hey kids, I got a job here. Is it okay if I stay here?" So my mom continued to live on Oak Island.
For how
My
long?
dad very quickly moved back in with us in Virginia.
For how long?
For a few months before we could sell the house.
So your parents stayed, or your parents and then your mother stayed on Oak Island in the house that you were trying to sell.
My mom stayed in the house that we eventually sold.
Until Jeff showed up at your front door in Orange, Virginia, he was in Oak Island as well, right?
For about a month.
That's what I said, okay? And they were helping you out by paying your mortgage payment in the house that you were trying to sell.
So they didn't.
You didn't listen to my question.
Oh, I thought you wanted an answer.
I do want you to answer it, and basically, it's a yes or no answer, and then you can explain. When you and Gio moved to Virginia, your parents stayed in your house in Oak Island and made your mortgage payment, yes or no?
No.
So you were making a mortgage payment in Oak Island, and you were making a rent payment in Virginia?
Correct. And as I stated, again, Jeff was not staying in Oak Island. He was there for a month. My mom continued to stay. The last couple months, I believe it was 2 or 3 months before we sold the house, we asked for help with the mortgage payment because, again, now we had 2 mortgages again. And she was staying at the beach house. She wanted to stay at the beach house until it was sold. We said, can you guys chip in a little bit for the mortgage payment? They did not pay the whole mortgage. And again, we're talking about 2 or 3 months before it sold.
They made payments on your mortgage.
That's the only time we had to ask for help for them. And we were, again, that was in the middle of a move, career transitions. Jeff is already living with us in Virginia, and my mom is there so she can walk the dog on the beach and live in peace.
And how long before Jeff and Karen got the rental apartment in the basement on the lake in the gated community?
They moved, they got that around, we had moved into our cabin. We got our cabin in the summer of 2016. And they initially lived for a little while with us in that cabin, and then they found the apartment on the lake. So again, with the math, they lived with us, whether they lived in the rental with us, and they lived with us in the Oak Island house, and they lived with us in the Orange, Virginia cabin. It was 2 years before they moved to the lake.
And that's not the cabin that you were building, that's the cabin that was already built.
That was the cabin we bought for our family. Gio and I bought for our family. And again, we welcomed them into that home until we then said, hey, let's get you your own space.
So the cabin that was being built in stages was for Jeff and Karen.
Correct.
It wasn't for you and Gio.
It wasn't.
Okay. And you're being separated from your mother and father for what, 8 years, 7, 8 years, right?
About 7 years.
Originated with disputes over this cabin that Jeff and Karen were going to be living in.
Correct.
And Jeff and Karen were going to be paying for.
Yes, they were going to be making the mortgage payments. We had made that agreement.
That's not rocket science. It's a yes or no. They were going to be
Yes, then, sir.
They were going to be making mortgage payments.
Yes.
So it was a piece of property that was being developed in their interest. Yes?
In my parents' interest, yes, I'd say so.
Yes. And the falling out that you have had originated with that piece of property, that project, that cabin, that Jeff calls it a modular home. I don't know what a modular home is, but apparently it's a home that's built in stages. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it was going to be theirs, not yours, theirs. Yes?
It was going to be in our name because we were the ones getting the loan for it. So,
But it was going to be theirs in terms of where they would occupy private space.
they were going to live there.
That's what I just said. Occupy private space, live there, right?
Can you repeat that last part?
It was going to be their place, their private place, their home. It was going to be for them.
They were going to live there, yes.
And in the meantime, while this was being developed, Jeff and Karen didn't live in the cabin with you. They lived on a lake in a basement apartment they had found on their own. You had nothing to do with that.
That's correct.
And the falling out that has apparently caused so much, I don't know what to call it, that you feel so upset about, started over that modular home.
That was when we started to see his business side.
Well, your dad's business side, he gets things done.
I would call it con artistry, sir.
You would call it what?
Con artistry?
Your daddy would get things done, such as a well dug.
Yeah, whether it was the correct way or not.
Well, you don't know if it wasn't the correct way. Your dad got the well.
Sir, I grew up with that man. I know if it was the correct way or not.
You didn't have anything to do with getting the well done. He did that.
What he did, sir, was we had no contract in place. While Gio and I were both working a full-time job, something he's not familiar with, he had a well driller put the rig into our land with no contract, no insurance in place. I come home, and yes, sir, I was upset when I got home that day because I had a well being dug on my property, and I don't know if this guy was going to charge $2,000. I don't know if this guy was going to charge $200,000. There was no contract in place. There was just a man digging a hole in the property.
An experienced well digger who dug wells all over that neighborhood.
He didn't even have a location, sir. You couldn't even look him up. You couldn't find his license. You couldn't get him on the phone.
So it's the fact that the well got dug is beside the point to you.
That is something that still bothers me because the family that ended up moving into that home had to have a whole nother well dug.
Okay.
So another young family became a victim because it wasn't done right.
Have you been keeping a diary on all this over the years?
Do you remember things about your family, sir?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I asked you.
This has changed my life, sir.
And you.
The victims that have come out of the woodwork, even living in Virginia, 2 ladies were glaring at me in Walmart, and I found out it was the 2 ladies that he was working for as a contractor on their home, and he had messed up their entire house. He had to be let go from that job, and they had to hire a whole nother contractor. So now I'm getting hate stares in Walmart in my hometown, and I don't even know why. So this is personal to me, sir, because it has affected my life, and it has affected my husband's life and our children's lives.
It's very personal to you, Ms. Agreyo, obviously, and I am absolutely overwhelmed by the detail that you can draw from years ago, as if you have been keeping a running check on your.
You're not experienced with people that have relatively good memories, sir?
When you and Gio were first moved to Virginia, your mama came after your daddy came, and y'all were all in agreement. You didn't say no, did you?
We didn't know they were doing anything wrong. Again, they had gone through bankruptcy. We thought we were trying to help. Who doesn't want to help their parents who are going through?
I believe this ground has been plowed thoroughly. Ask and answer about why they moved in. About 15 questions about it.
I just want a yes or a no.
Ask your question anyway.
Your father moved in with you in Orange, Virginia, followed by your mother a couple of months later. And you could say no, couldn't you?
I'm sorry, sir, but I think you want a yes or no answer, but that's not phrased in the way to give you a yes or no.
Well, you didn't say no, Miss Agreyo.
They had permission to live with us. I mean, they weren't breaking into our home every night.
Thank you. They had permission. That's all I want you to say is you could say no and you didn't say
Objection,
no.
Your Honor. That is argumentative.
She answered the question. Move on.
And the animosity that you have exhibited since you got into this room this morning all stems from the building of that modular home and disagreements over that.
No, sir. My uncomfortableness with having to be in this courtroom is because that man over there is not even handcuffed. And you don't know what it's like to move almost every year of your life and still get text messages from Karen, your mother, saying, "Hey, how's Texas?" Or "How's that new baby granddaughter?" I would not communicate back with her. It's not like I was communicating back. She was letting me know, we know where you are. We know your kids.
How do you know your mother wasn't just expressing genuine affection for you?
Because if she had genuine affection for me, sir, she would have stopped this years ago. She would have stopped this years ago. She would have said, enough is enough. If I can't change that man, I'm going to leave that man. But she's part of it. So how are you going to leave someone when you're their partner? You're their Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay. Bonnie and Clyde, your mama's Bonnie?
They would joke about it.
Oh, come on.
She would bring him contraband when he was out on work release. Like, that's not Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah, Judge, let me approach. I need
Disregard the last statement made by the witness.
You and Gio, even though the house that was being built, the modular cabin that was being built was for your parents, you and Gio wanted to control everything. Isn't that so?
If you had a $178,000 loan in your name, would you want some control?
I ask you a question that's yes or no. You and Gio wanted to control everything, yes or no?
No.
Well, that's what the falling out was about, right?
No.
That's what the meeting at McDonald's was all about, right?
Nope.
And your father looked at you and said, your husband can be difficult himself, can he?
I would not agree with that, sir.
Pardon me?
I would not agree with that, sir.
All right. Well, on the day that you were going to meet at McDonald's, where you did meet at McDonald's, and this all came to a head, Gio was demanding that it take place on his couch in his basement apartment, not McDonald's.
We wanted Karen to be a part of the conversation.
And Gio went to your mother and father's apartment and broke into the apartment and sat on the couch himself and demanded that Karen call Jeff and come and sit on that couch because Gio said so.
That's a lie.
That's a question. And you can answer it yes or no?
He did not? That's a no?
I think that was a lie is a no. I think that qualifies as a no.
And your mother was home in bed. You do acknowledge that your mother has serious health issues, right?
I acknowledge she has self-diagnosed health issues when it's convenient for her. She rallies real quick when she's needed by Dad.
You're accusing your mother of being a hypochondriac?
Growing up with that woman, I know that I would disagree with her calling herself ill. We'll put it that way. I know you want me to keep it short. That woman's not ill.
You don't think that your mother's migraine headaches are real?
People have headaches, sir.
Migraine headaches?
Yes, migraine headaches. People have migraine headaches.
Well, I didn't ask you if people had migraine headaches. Ms. Agreyo, I asked you if you disagree that your mother is a migraine sufferer.
She would have migraine headaches, yes.
And have you ever had a migraine?
She was not in bed that day. When Gio knocked on the door, she was sitting on the couch.
Really? Were you seeing from afar? How do you know?
I communicate with my husband, sir. I think most people do.
How do you
Now,
know?
I was, as mentioned, I was very pregnant with my son, so I didn't, because they wouldn't even, I didn't walk back into where they lived. My husband did. I'm calling my mom on the phone saying, Mom, you need to know what's going on. This affects your life too.
Let's get that down pat. You didn't walk in. Your husband did. Your husband went from the gate on the gated community through the woods, around the fence.
Oh no, so this is a gated community. There's no woods he's walking through. This is a paved road. He's walking down a road. He's knocking on a door where a family lives above them, by the way. We're not breaking into a home. We're knocking on a door, seeing a lady sitting on a couch that's supposed to be in bed with a migraine. And she's not picking up her phone when her daughter's calling her.
You weren't with him.
That's correct, sir. As I mentioned, I was about 6 or 7 months pregnant at that time. I'm not schlepping back 2 miles into a gated community because my mom can't be bothered to open the gate. Because she doesn't want to see the next mess that he's made.
So your husband walked 2 miles into a gated community where he was not invited, he was not permitted, he didn't live there, he bypassed the gate, and he walked 2 miles because he said so. That's where the meeting was supposed to take place, because Gio said so.
If you can't get in touch with someone on the phone, particularly your mother-in-law, do you think that maybe you might want to go check on her and see why she's not picking up her phone?
No, not if you.
Wow.
Your mother is quite capable of making a phone call if she needs help.
I thought you just said she was very ill, sir.
Your mother is very ill.
But she doesn't need checked on?
All right, Judge. When's the last time you actually had a civil conversation with Mom or Dad?
December of 2018, I tried to have a conversation with my mom. My son was about a month at that point. They had missed all the initial baby things, and of course, with Jeff, we had a no contact order. But with my mom, I said, "Can you fix this? Can you do something so that we can be a family?"
Well,
and that didn't go well. Being a grandmother was not as important to her as continuing with Jeff, and I'll be careful how I phrase it.
So you didn't want to have anything to do with your mother because she loved her husband and saw him.
Absolutely not, sir.
Let me finish. And saw her husband as her life partner, and you wanted to rule You and Gio always want to rule the roost, don't you?
No, sir, that's very incorrect. Who would invite someone into their home if they wanted to rule the roost? Like, that's not, those aren't the kind of hearts that, like, I gotta be in control of everything and I gotta be in charge. Like, you don't let people into your little circle of control if you wanna rule a roost. None of what you're saying makes sense.
Well, it was your home.
Your Honor.
Y'all had a fight over a modular home that you...
Objection.
Hang on a second, you got an objection?
Yes, sir. It's asked and answered. We've plowed this ground many, many
As I
times.
said earlier, let's move on.
I think I can ask you this question safely. You don't have respect for your mother, do you?
That's incorrect, sir.
You don't.
I love my parents. I love my sister. I love my family that have, like, my family in Pennsylvania that I don't talk to anymore. I love them all. The love doesn't change. But getting my children and my husband out of danger's way, out of harm's way, that is more important to me than being able to pick up the phone and say, "Oh, Mama, you'll never guess what the baby did today."
So
It's either that or I continue to put my husband and leave him with a target on his back after he's been threatened. I won't do that, sir. I love my husband. And that's it. So I will give up a phone call with my mama.
a target
So-
on your husband's back? Who put the target on your husband's back?
Jeff,
In what way?
he has offered to put $1 million life insurance policy on him. We had a recording device in our garage where he says, after we've called the sheriff, he says, look up along that walkway, you'll see a dead man walking. I'm coming for you, son. You don't know what you've gotten yourself into.
Jeez. All right.
It's all recorded.
Well, I've never heard it, okay?
It wasn't allowed.
You don't have any respect and love for your father either, do you?
Love? Yes. After understanding what he has done over the years and seeing what he's done, respect, no.
Let me ask you this. You have children, I've heard you refer to, yes? You have children, yes?
Yes.
Small children.
Your Honor,
I'm not comfortable
objection.
talking about my kids in front.
With respect to $100,000 or $1 million life insurance on your husband, do you, Ms. Agreyo, not think it's reasonable and responsible for a parent like David Hill to insure myself for my children's benefit in the event that something happens to me? Yes or no? I don't want to lecture. I want you to tell these folks whether or not you think it's reasonable.
Objection.
Just answer yes or no. You'll have
Yes.
You can explain your answer if you like.
You think
Yes, I upped my life insurance policy to attend here today, sir, because I want my kids taken care of.
well, that's a responsible parent, isn't it?
Yes, and as I mentioned, both of us had life insurance at that time. We were not going to be leaving our baby son with nothing should something happen to us. We both already had life insurance. The curious part is why they felt at that need when we started arguing to up his life insurance policy.
Well, you know, Ms. Agreyo, would it surprise you to know that I'm a grandparent and I have given the same advice to all three of my children?
Have you offered to pay for it, sir, in the middle of an
Objection,
argument?
Your Honor. Objection. I don't think that was a question.
She had a response.
Can you rephrase it in the form of a
I
question?
think you can respond.
I ask it in a question form, Judge.
You can respond. You can say yes or no and then explain your answer.
I think the issue, Ms. Agreyo, concerning life insurance is not who pays for it, but who the beneficiary is. Would you agree?
If you feel like you're going to be able to convince your daughter that this was all an accident and then you do benefit because you moved back into the cabin with your new grandbaby, then I'd say you are benefiting if that's your end term goal, sir. Get him out of the picture. This now becomes my house.
One final question, Mr. Clyde. When you bought the house, your house, on Oak Island, where you invited your parents to come stay, when you bought it, Jeff Spence gave you a $10,000 down payment, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Jeff and Karen gave you a $10,000 down payment.
No, they didn't.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right, how long do you think we're ready to proceed?
Very, very short.
All right, let's go and have it then.
You were talking about family in Pennsylvania. Who is Doug Spence?
My dad's younger brother.
Okay. Now, do you have as far as the relationship with Jeff and you and Gio, we get the picture. And I believe, but are you aware of how Jeff would communicate with Doug?
He has helped him with counsel over the years. A lot of times they use code to talk about things in our family. So like,
What do you mean by that, code?
well, when you don't want, you know, if you're outside and you don't want someone to overhear you, you just say, oh, well, you know, sure do remember that time we were, you know, fishing with Dad in his favorite fishing hole, and remember that tree he used to sit at all the time. You know, conversation that appears to be about a memory is not about a memory.
It's about something else.
It's letting the brother know.
Your Honor, this is not proper redirect.
I'm through, Your Honor.
All right, I'll agree. All right. Can this witness be finally excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're finally excused. You're welcome to stay. You're free to go, whichever one you like to do, okay? All right, let's take about a 10 or 15 minute break. Y'all get ready. Let us know.